There is a quiet tragedy I have witnessed time and time again. It is not the tragedy of failure, nor is it the tragedy of loss. It is the tragedy of timing. It is the heartbreaking realization of waking up one morning to find that the someday you spent decades saving for has finally arrived, but the energy to live it has quietly slipped away in the night. My name is Arthur Sterling. I am 73 years old, but in my later years, I have become a student of a different kind of structure, the architecture of a life well lived. I am not here to sell you a dream. I am here to have the conversation I wish someone had with me 20 years ago. We have been listening to the voices of those in their 70s and 80s, people who have walked the path you are on now. If they could step back through the years, sit across the table from their 50-year-old selves, and pour a glass of wine, this is exactly what they would say. It begins with a shape, a simple triangle. As 70-year-olds look back on their lives, they see three distinct stages. When we are young, in our 20s and 30s, we possess a surplus of time and health. We have the energy to conquer the world, but we lack the resources. We are just starting our careers, building our foundations. Then comes the second stage, the middle years. By now you have forged a path. You are making money. You are still young and healthy in your 40s and 50s. But time? Time has vanished. It has been devoured by career and family obligations. Then comes the third stage, where I find myself now. After retirement, in our 70s and 80s, we have all the time in the world. We have the money we saved, but the health begins to decline, and we notice the changes in our capabilities. We have the means, but the vessel is weathering. But, my friends, there is a secret, a magical fourth triangle, a fleeting window where everything is equal. It exists specifically in your 50s and early 60s. You have the time, the money, and you are still young enough to do the things that require activity and movement. The tragedy is that so many stay on the treadmill too long. They delay the adventure. A person in their early 60s is far more apt to walk the streets of Paris or hike a mountain trail than someone in their 80s. Do not miss this golden window. It is the sweetest season of life. This brings us to the nature of time itself. We are taught to manage our time in two buckets, our career and our relationships. We give our days to our employers and our evenings to our families. This is noble. But there is a third bucket, a third type of time that is almost entirely neglected until it is too late. It is renewal time. This is the time spent on things that give us energy, that rejuvenate the spirit. I recall a man, let's call him Thomas. At 55, he felt the weight of his responsibilities. He rediscovered a passion he had not touched since his 20s, rock climbing. It wasn't about the sport, it was about reclaiming a piece of his identity. He realized his life was a pie chart, and he wanted to expand the slice dedicated to this passion while shrinking the slice given to his career. He did this in his 50s because he knew rock climbing is not a forever sport like swimming or tennis. He had to do it while his body allowed it. What is your rock climbing? What brings you back to yourself? Make time for it now. To make space for this renewal, you must learn a skill that is terribly difficult for our generation. You must learn the art of saying no. In the first half of life, we say yes. We say yes to every opportunity, every door that opens, because we are building our place in the world. But in the second half of life, we must realize it is acceptable to respect our own needs and desires. You may have to say no to social obligations, to work commitments, even to friends, if the relationship no longer serves you. Prioritizing your peace is not selfishness. It is stewardship of the limited time you have left. And let us speak plainly about that resource, time. There is a foolish saying we have all repeated. Time is money. I tell you now, with the clarity of my years, that this is completely wrong. Money is a renewable resource. Time is not. Time is something we have less of every single day. In your 50s, your money might be working for you, growing in accounts, but it is not making more time. Time remains the scarcest asset we possess. However, while we cannot manufacture more time, there are ways to slow it down or buy it back. Consider your health. Imagine a timeline of your life. You have your healthy years, then a period where you start to slow down, and finally, the end. What if a decision you make in your 50s, a habit of fitness or strength training, could extend those healthy years? Studies tell us this is exactly what happens. An investment in health gives the biggest returns. I had a client, a dear woman of 69. When her husband passed away, she felt lost. But she decided to focus on her well-being. She started yoga, regular workouts, and meditation. When I saw her a year later, I almost didn't recognize her. She looked vibrant, renewed. She told me, "I feel like I added 10 healthy years to my life." By prioritizing her physical and mental health, she effectively bought more time in that magical triangle we spoke of. There is another way to buy time, quite literally. We often cling to the habit of doing everything ourselves to save a few pennies. But if you can afford it, buy back your hours. If you dislike changing the oil in your car, take it to the shop. In that 20 minutes, you can take a walk. You have bought yourself life. A subscriber once told me he hired someone to power wash his deck. He didn't like doing it, so he paid for it. He got back 4 or 5 hours of his life and provided income for someone else who needed it. Successful people have this mindset. Do what you do best and pay for the rest. There is a verse that speaks of redeeming the time, which literally means to buy it back. That should be your goal. Clarity, confidence, and freedom. But let us discuss the things we are tempted to buy that do not bring us time or joy. I speak of the status game. It is a trap that ensnares many, particularly men in their 50s, facing that well-known midlife crisis. We buy things to signal success, to fit in, to prove we are still relevant. I had a client, 6 months into retirement, who asked if he could finally buy his dream car, a Porsche. We ran the numbers. He could afford it, so he bought it. 6 months later, I asked him, "How is the Porsche?" He admitted the excitement wore off in a couple of weeks. Looking back, he said he should have just rented it for a month. He would have spent a fraction of the cost to satisfy the itch and realize it wasn't what he truly needed. We buy these things for validation, for recognition, to soothe the fear of irrelevance. But experiences, renting the car, taking the trip, often save us money in the long run and provide lasting memories. Speaking of money, there is a practical reality we must address. We are often told expenses go down in retirement. But frequently, in the first few years, the go-go years, the exact opposite happens. You finally have the time to travel, to eat out, to live. One couple told me they thought they would spend $10,000 a month, but that first year, it was much more because it was now or never. My advice? Start tracking your expenses now, in your 50s. Use tools to see where your money truly goes, so you are not guessing when you reach the finish line. This leads me to the most profound regret I hear, and the most vital piece of advice. It is about connection. A client who retired in his 50s decided to focus on the 3 C's, one of which was connection. He reached out to an old friend, a man who had been the best man at his wedding, whom he hadn't spoken to in 20 years because life got busy. They picked up the phone, and it was as if no time had passed at all. Many clients in their 70s and 80s wish they had nurtured these relationships earlier. It is easy to get caught up in the daily grind, but do not forget the people who truly matter. Reach out to old friends, strengthen bonds with family, be open to meeting new people who share your interests. These connections will provide you with support, joy, and a sense of belonging in your later years. Finally, I must ask you a question that might haunt you if you do not answer it soon. What are you retiring to? Too many of us focus entirely on what we are retiring from. We are running away from the stress, the commute, the job we are tired of. But clients who do this often find that 6 months in, retirement is boring. They ask, "Is this all there is?" You must plan for a retirement of purpose, not just leisure. It is never too early to start exploring the things you truly enjoy, the passions you forgot about since your teen years. How can you integrate them into your life right now? Growth doesn't come just from experience. It comes from reflecting on experience. So, my friends, as the sun begins to set on this conversation, I offer you this. You are standing at a magnificent vantage point. You have the best stage of life coming up. It is not too late for you. Take this advice from those who have gone before you. Pick 2 or 3 things we discussed today. Perhaps it is prioritizing your health, or calling that old friend, or simply learning to say no. Write them down. Think about them on your next peaceful morning with a cup of coffee. The river flows only one way, but the view? The view can be spectacular if you only lift your eyes to see it. Take care.